I'm going to get the show on the road here then. Thanks again, everybody, for coming, and our viewers online. We have more and more people subscribing to our YouTube page all the time. I'm not sure how many there is. I think there's several hundred now, and more people watching. So thanks, and everyone, for joining us live as well. I don't know if you guys heard, we had up to 1,100 watching the UBC convention live at one point or another throughout the day. It's really neat getting the live streaming. I don't think we got Cannabis Culture hooked up with us yet. I think we got to coordinate more. Anyway, today is Gail's lecture of the semester. She comes and helps with the class. We try to mix it around, and so today's talk is going to be about cannabis and Gail's health, I guess, and sort of instead of a general discussion, she's going to talk about her different issues and needs. And then in 2 weeks' time, I'll do the lecture on medicinal cannabis products, which will hopefully complement this discussion today. There isn't a lecture next week, but you guys are in school next week, so like it's my annual screw up with timing. So we won't be here teaching next week when you guys are in class, but we will be teaching when you don't have a class. So, I can understand if you're not able to attend, but otherwise, if you do need to let me know if you want your certificate and are going to be out of town. I'll forgive you if you can't meet that week for sure.
What if we watch it online?
Oh, that's another way to do it too, for sure. In fact, I'm hoping to somehow coordinate it so that if people are watching it live online, it's hard to determine by YouTube hits, but if we can coordinate it right, we'll even have it so that you could be watching different lectures at different universities. And so if you miss this one on Wednesdays, well, maybe you'll watch the live one at UBC on Friday, and that would be good enough. So people might be able to, not only because we give out certificates for people that watch it live online like every week already, but if we could have it so that it could be, you know, mix it around and you watch some at one university and others live. But anyway, that's all for the future. And Gail's lecture is going to go out very quickly, so I'm just going to invite her up to come and tell us about how she uses cannabis. Thanks, folks.
Thanks a lot for joining us again. The year's going by really fast this year. I appreciate whenever you can make it up, but you know, you guys are really busy, so totally understand when you can't make it, and just hope that you eventually have time to watch them online. So I'm going to start with, like Ted said, my own personal use of cannabis. It started when I was 13 years old, and I was born without an immune system, and so I was sick all the time when I was a kid. And thanks to my older brothers and sisters, they turned me on to cannabis when I was 13. So I also started my first menstruation periods, and I thought I was going to die. I bled extremely heavily and had severe cramps. Then I couldn't get out of bed or walk for about the first 3 days, and they'd last anywhere from 7 till 10 days, and would come anywhere between once or twice a month to 3 months apart. So I had a horrible time with that, and the very first medicinal aspect, other than opening my mind, my subconscious, from my very first toke, I felt enlightened right away. I got immediate physical relief from my first tokes through my first period. It made me be able to get out of bed, and I could actually go to school and pay attention and carry on with school. So I just smoked the herb for quite a few years. It helped me through my pregnancies. I was extremely sick through all my pregnancies, and I smoked all the way through both, or I don't think I probably would have carried at least my first son till term, because I was very, very ill, and I couldn't eat otherwise. So It was very beneficial at stopping nausea. I had morning, afternoon, evening sickness all the way around the clock. So I was able to eat and put on weight, and he was born quite healthily. So that was still just smoking it. I wasn't able to grow very much at that time. It was when I moved to Salt Spring in the island in the mid-'80s. And I had 5 acres of land, and I made a trade with the universe that I quit selling pot for a living, and in trade for just growing it and keeping my home healthy and my family healthy and safe, and using it, learning how to use it more medicinally. A total shift in my relationship to the plant, because before then it was my main source of living. That's how I raised my boys and how I kept myself alive. So it's a whole other story. So I finally was in a safe place and had lots of land, and lots of people that had been growing good pot for many years, and they like to share their seeds. So I started growing my own medicine, and I've been a gardener since I was 4. My dad taught me everything he knew about gardening from a very early age. And so it came quite naturally to me, and I was quite good at it. And as long as you don't over-fertilize your plants, you'll get nice, strong, healthy plants. You don't want to starve them either, or they'll become pest-ridden and whatnot. But I ended up with an overabundance of leaf. So I really started, and I became very, very ill. While I was working in the hospitals, I contracted hepatitis C, and I lost my job, and was on a disability for actually 11 years because of it. I was told by my doctor to go home and die, and so I didn't receive very much help along the way, because it was so early. They just didn't know anything about it yet, and didn't, just absolutely had nothing to offer me. So I started really becoming and reading a lot more about herbs, and I had all this leaf, and I had made pot cookies before, since the 70s, and knew that they would knock you out if you ate too much, and I had an extreme amount of difficulty eating. So I made brownies, first of all, to help me sleep. And the first thing that I noticed was that it didn't put me to sleep, but it took all the pain out of my liver. Was the first thing and only thing that, besides extreme amounts of vitamin C, I took about 50,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day as well, about a gram every hour. And between that and eating cannabis regularly, it seemed to be the only thing that would control the pain in my liver. So I started eating it. Is extremely important with all kinds of illnesses, especially chronic pain, like from an accident. Because if you eat leaf, it keeps your muscles relaxed so they don't tense up and pull your hurt bones out of place, and that allows them to heal better. They found out over time too that ingesting cannabis, it actually stimulates your liver to create an enzyme to help heal itself. So all these things that I was doing naturally, a lot of things that I've been doing naturally for 40 years have been being proved scientifically now. So it's pretty astounding, and it's really neat to watch. But effects are very immediate. Like in the morning, if I wake up and I'm very nauseous and I just don't want to eat, and I'm dragging myself around. I forgot to bring one, but we have a little capsule called a Remedicinal capsule, and it's leaf, a very minute amount of leaves blended in grapeseed oil. So I'll have 1 or 2 of those, and the first thing it does is relax your stomach, takes away any nausea. If you've had trouble having a bowel movement, it'll relax your intestines so you can have a more natural bowel movement. So that's first thing in the morning. The other thing that I do first thing in the morning is I have this infusion of St. John's wort oil and cannabis. I had knee surgery at a very young age. My knees were crushed and I have no cartilage in this knee. So, and with all the running around that I do, it gets bruised very easily. So I take literally about 4 drops and just rub it all over my knee when I get up in the morning. And that keeps the pain out of my knee. And it keeps the bruise, oh, there's one now because I forgot to do it over the weekend, we were too busy. And it keeps the bruising from, I have weakened veins both from the hepatitis C and from no cartilage, so it's just bone on bone, so I get a lot of bruising from that. Pass it around to try some. I'm going to let you try the regular massage oil. What? What did he do, Dan?
We're playing with the zoo.
Oh, okay.
A couple of shots that were getting too close.
Oh, sorry.
There's a close-up on the camera.
Okay, back to the tights, but anyway. So, a lot of times I have a lot of problems eating. So by lunchtime I'm really hungry, but I still don't want to eat. And so these are called Buddha balls, and these help me through the day a lot. They're like a protein meal replacement. I'm not going to go through everything that they're made out of because you can get the product guide online and you should. Because we've gone through them on the products, you can, when I've talked about the products, you can look at past lectures or read online the ingredients and the product list, so I'm not going to bother. So I usually cut them in half and a quarter and have about a quarter of one for breakfast or lunch with an apple. That'll carry me through for quite a few hours. And the same thing, it's made out of leaf, so it keeps your muscles nice and relaxed. It has a good amount of pain-killing qualities in it, and all the high protein really keeps your energy up. So, if I'm really hungry, I'll have a cookie. Warm them up with a cup of tea, and I can usually eat a half of one, and really sorry, I can usually eat a half of one or a whole one. And they're a good painkiller for a few hours, about 4 or 5 hours usually. Massage oil is amazing. You can feel it starting to kill pain almost, like within minutes. It's made out of leaf suspended in olive oil, so olive oil is really beneficial for our skin, and it's also readily absorbable. It's not an actual massage oil. Massage oils you want to stay on the surface of your skin for a long time while you're rubbing, so you don't build up friction. But we use the olive oil because it's readily absorbable, and it goes a long way into the layers of your skin to get the cannabis very deep into your skin, which is important for sore joints. We also turn the massage oil into a salve by adding beeswax. It's really easy to transport this way. You can keep it in your purse, and so when you're out and about, if you get a bonk or something, it'll stop. Cannabis is really good for stopping bruising if you get it on right away. In fact, if you don't have anything else around and you get a bad cut like this, you just take a bud and squish it and tape it on, and it'll stop the bleeding. It's an instant antibiotic, an antiseptic. It stops the analgesic, it stops the pain. They keep it on for 12 to 24 hours, and then to make sure the skin's nice and sealed up, and then I'd start using the salve on it. And probably not a Band-Aid, so it'll get lots of air depending on how bad the cut is.
I can say something about the salve of a testimony. My wife had, we were hiking on the west coast, and she got really bad poison ivy all down her legs, wearing shorts. And we took some of that on one leg, and we put antihistamine on the other leg. Hours later, it was cleared up on the one leg. 3 days later, on the other leg.
They made her suffer for 3 days.
3 days. What?
I said
No,
they made her suffer for 3 days
difference.
just to
Yeah,
see the difference.
just to see the difference. Just a itch for 3 days because of it. Yeah, but it was a matter of like, I think 6 hours or something.
I've been able to apply to my skin to help remove the skin disease that I have.
Nice. Just the regular?
Just the regular one or the aloe one.
Or the
And
aloe.
all the chemical skin creams out there that
Oh,
I've
gosh.
tried have just caused my skin to itch.
I'm
to the point
highly
that
allergic
I
to
can't
all.
handle them at
Yeah,
all.
they put a lot of alcohol in a lot of these. Yeah.
You know,
But Dan made a video as well
Yeah.
of that. So if you want to see, he did this great
It's
shot of like,
yeah.
well, here's the poison ivy full of,
Mr. CBC.
here's us applying the oil, and then like, you know, an hour later, a couple hours later,
Yeah.
it's a really good
You
video.
could literally see it clear up. It was
Where is it
pretty
posted?
amazing.
We'll try to link it on to this lecture here.
Yeah, I'll try to, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, that'd be good.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people need to see that. It's just amazing that how fast cannabis can stop a reaction. And you just mentioned the aloe vera salve. I don't travel without the aloe vera salve. It's the regular massage oil, but it's got shea butter in it, as well as essential oil of lavender. Essential oil of lavender is one of the first remedies for any kind of burns of our skin. And shea butter is a specific for your skin. You can use it for a sunscreen. You can use it for a sun tanning lotion. You can use it for sunburns. It's just amazing. We've had very many people come with lots of different kinds of skin conditions, and they've just been amazed by it. It was developed for a friend who had third-degree burns from chemotherapy.
And I would speculate that aside from eating the raw plant, because as I said, you know, before we'd be scavengers, right? So we'd eat and chew just about everything. Certainly we would have been chewing the raw cannabis plant.
And
There's people
slapping
juicing
it
it
on
down
our
in the
finger.
United States. They're kind of so that they don't get high but get the medicinal benefit. I would suggest though that right up there with eating, using it as a poultice when we get cut would have been one of the very first uses we had, because we would have been learning what plants we could stick to our arms and legs that would help them heal back to normal, like very, very early on. And that would have been one of the key uses, I believe, because, you know, before we made good clothing and lived out in the harsh environment, we would have been getting ripped up all the time, and recovering from injuries was really critical to our long-term health.
Even a sponge sort of to suck up stuff, you know, and a nice bud.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We would have been using like the buds, like the raw
Yeah.
plants.
Such a
They would have
good
been putting it
painkiller,
right
yeah.
on, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, big time.
So we might as well carry on and talk about them. Whoops, sorry. Good. After we've made the cookies and the skin products, the leaf never wants to give up the oil. It doesn't matter, all of the oil. It doesn't matter if you put it in a pot of water and boil it and let it separate. That leaf is still going to have some oil in it. I've tried everything imaginable, and some that I can't believe I tried. So, so we take what's left and wrap it up in cheesecloth and use it as a poultice. And these things are absolutely astounding. I've timed them when we first started actually making them. I fell and broke my wrist, so I just took the poultice and went like this with it, and then took some masking tape. I'm not going to, and then actually just taped it right onto my wrist, and then took the thing and wrapped it around and around and around and turned it into a cast, and left it there between 3 and 4 days. And I was timing it, and within 4 minutes I could feel a reduction in the amount of pain, and 4 hours later I had no pain at all. I had a hairline fracture in here. I used one of these on the weekend. We were in Vancouver, and I caught a bit of a bug in my throat. And I started off with the lozenges, which I'll come back to. But I didn't eat enough of them before I went to bed, and I managed to chase it out of my throat, but it went into my shoulders. That virus is in your muscles as well, right? So the next day I was pretty miserable and sore when we got home. So I spent most of the day in bed on pillows with a patch like this on the back of my neck. So what you want to do is just throw a shopping bag over top of your pillows, and then your patch on it, and then just lay on it so you don't get your clothes or your couch or whatever soaked in oil. These you can reuse over and over and over again if you don't have to turn them into a cast. You know, if it's just for stopping a migraine headache or some bruising, so long as there's no blood involved. If you wanted, if you had an insect bite that either sets up flesh-eating disease or gets infected, I'd want to take this apart probably and make four or half a dozen little patches out of it, so I could still put one on and then just throw it away right away. If you had a bad, it stops bruising like nothing else I've ever seen. If you had a bad cut and you know wanted to stop it from bruising and help control the bleeding, but knew you were going to be a little while before you got to proper help, I'd put some sterile gauze over the top and then a patch on both sides of it, or even just on the opposite side like this, and then tape it up. Because getting it anywhere near where you have an injury will help will help stop the injury from getting worse, and will help speed the healing phenomenally. I've had nurses in the emergency wards just be astounded at how fast eyes have healed without stitches and things like that by just putting a patch on. In 3 days they've been healed, sort of thing. So I say all of our members and those, and not just our members, but everybody who has access to somebody who can give them some leaf to make some cookies out should have 2 or 3 of these in the freezer for emergency sakes, or you know, like I say, if you get migraine headaches, they'll stop those right away. Yeah, if you have a sore stomach, you just put them on your stomach and whatnot. So try not to travel without these too. The other thing that I use just about other day is back to an edible product. It's called canoil, and it's 5 grams of I'd cooked into this much olive oil, so it's quite strong, and it's mostly a painkiller. It's also, bud is different in leaf. It doesn't have the same muscle relaxing qualities. It's a stronger painkiller, and it's more of an antiseptic, and it's an extremely strong antibiotic. So I also have a fairly fussy diet. It used to be a lot fussier. I was allergic. I had 3 major food allergies, so there wasn't a lot that I could eat, but I've since learned how to fix allergies through tapping. But this is really easy to use, and you can put it, because you can carry it with you. I throw it in with my shampoo bottles when I'm traveling, so it just sort of goes through without being noticed. And you can put however much you need on whatever kind of food you can tolerate. So this is something that I use just about every other day. And the other thing that I wanted to tell you about the St. John's wort oil, which I use just about every day too, and that stems back to another one of my food allergies, is I get chronic ear infections. The medical profession had me on morphine for 6 years because they couldn't figure out where I was getting my ear infections from, and it was because I didn't know enough, and I let them give me a hysterectomy because of all the other problems that I was having, and it didn't fix the problem, it made it move. So it was caused by a fat allergy, and when I fixed the fat allergy, all of my most of my major medical symptoms went away. I do still get sensitive in this ear to wind and a lot of moisture, or if I'm bad, I'm drinking too much coffee with cream in it. So St. John's wort oil is a really good painkiller too. So I just take the oil and put like a couple of drops in my ear. And if you're sensitive at all to like going in the pool and whatnot, you can just and then take a little tiny piece of paper and put it in to keep it from rolling out. And the other thing that I use almost every day is the lozenge, because it's a very strong painkiller. It's made out of bud, the same as the canoil. I have a lot of problems with my teeth because I had a lot of bad dental work when I was young, and I got mercury poisoning from it. So there's no sugar in them, they're just berries and slippery elm bark and cannabis. But if you have like an abscess tooth or getting a strep throat, you just tuck it in your cheek and let it absorb through the membranes in your mouth, so it doesn't have to go through your digestive system. It works faster and you get more out of it, because your liver, when you eat it, your liver processes most of it out before it gets into our bloodstream. So it's just amazing at how actually a minute amount we need to eat to get benefits from it. Do you have any questions, anybody? Okay.
Yeah, just so you're saying like the St. John's wort and marijuana leaf oil would be really good for like a serious injury. How would you go about maybe finding some of that? Because I suffered through chronic back injury pain.
Okay, well, St. John's wort is considered an invasive species because it's not native to here. You can find it quite widespread. It likes really sandy soil. Just don't pick it anywhere near the railroad tracks because they spray them.
Sandy soil. Thank you.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you is the canoil. Can you actually fry with it?
No, I wait until until my food's cooked and then put it on. It's been cooked and it's ready to use.
So
you could use it.
In the sense of using it to make a dressing?
Yeah.
In that sense?
Yeah. Or put some on your rice.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to subject it to any other temperatures. We've decarboxylized it and stuff, so it's all activated, ready to go.
So
don't want to mess with it.
All right.
Any questions online today, or? Nope. Okay. Good.
Well, thank you very much.
A student from you, Vic's online, wants to know what class and building we're in.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's Cleary 112, I guess.
112.
But yeah, again, there's an lecture next week. We are here the week after, though. I guess I'm going to do the class on medicinal cannabis products, and I'm going to talk about everything else but our products. I think I'm going to bring up a couple of vaporizers and talk about vaporizing and some of the other smokable forms of cannabis that some of them we don't even use at the Buyers Club for different reasons. So I'll get into alcohol extracts and all that sort of stuff, Rick Simpson's oil. So that'll be in 2 weeks' time from now. And looking at the schedule, I'm thinking I may be able to line up a lot of guest speakers towards the end of the year as well. So it's going to be a really good semester, and really loved last week's with Brian. That was a lot of fun. And otherwise, yeah, thanks for coming out, everybody. Thanks again. Yeah. And